Okay, I make it 6 o'clock. We have the usual housekeeping announcements. Note the fire exits. Make sure your mobile phones and other devices are switched to silent. The meeting is being live streamed. Please switch your microphone on when addressing the council and switch it off when you finish speaking. And in relation to all points of order, members will need to indicate first the rule and second the way which has been broken, as is required by the Constitution. This will enable me to rule accordingly. And can I remind members to talk to the point, please? Okay, item 1, apologies for absence. We have apologies from Sam Bateman, Peter Vandenberg, Philip Circus, Joy Dennis, Claudia Fisher, Nick Grant, Richard Landerhow, Alan Manton, Nicholas Marks, Colin Minto, Josh Potts and Trisha Usan, and Chris Franks is running very late, so he may or may not get here. Does any member have an interest to declare in respect of any items on the agenda tonight? Good. Sorry. Yes.
Hello, yes. I need to declare that I'm a member of Den Neighbourhood Council. I've considered the issue and I've decided that this doesn't compromise my ability to take part in the debate.
Okay, thank you. No one else? Right, okay. We have no questions from members of the public. So we move straight to item 4, recommendations from committees. I'm delighted to see Councillor Brooks is here. He suffered an altercation on Sunday night, I believe. So I'm pleased that he's recovered from that and he is here tonight. And I will hand over to him to introduce the report and move the recommendations.
Thank you very much, Chair, and to reassure all members here that the altercation was that unfortunately somebody attempted to mug me, but the police have been excellent in their response, and I have suffered no ill effects that prevent me from taking a full part in tonight's meeting. So to move to the important business, the motion before us. In December 2024, Horsham District Council received an application from Horsham Blueprint Business Neighbourhood Forum to conduct a community governance review of the unparished area of Horsham. The council has a duty, under statute, to undertake such reviews when requested by a neighbourhood forum. The application stated that the review should cover the entire unparished area, with a view to establishing a parish in Horsham with a parish council. The Governance Committee set its terms of reference in December 2024, and 2 consultation exercises took place in May to June 2025 and August to September 2025. Each consultation was well publicised on social media, and every household in the unparished area received a leaflet about the proposals with instructions on how to respond. An online survey was made available, as well as the opportunity to complete a paper questionnaire. Drop-in sessions were also held in Swanwalk Shopping Centre in September of this year. The first consultation demonstrated that 75% of residents were in support of the creation of a parish council in Horsham, and the Governance Committee, through this consultation, gained a good understanding of any concerns residents might have had about the process. The leaflet for the second consultation provided further information to the public, and their views were sought on the proposed warding arrangements for any town council or parish council and the councillor numbers that were being proposed. Responses were received from elected representatives, including West Sussex County Council, district and county councillors, and the neighbourhood councils that have served the unparished area so well for the years of its existence. All parties were generally supportive, though it must be noted West Sussex County Council stated, though they did not actually object in principle to the proposals, they had some concerns in relation to the timing of the review, suggested that a referendum be held and that a boundary should be considered in light of urban settlement. it should be noted here that the timing of the review was dictated by our duty under statute, and that local government reorganisation was not a consideration at the time that the request from the community was made. I don't believe that West Sussex County Council fully considered this in their own deliberations. Following the second consultation, the Government's Committee approved the recommendations as set out in your agenda pack on page 5. The committee unanimously supported the creation of a parish council in the unparished area of Horsham and approved the warding arrangements set out in the final recommendations document. I'd like to reiterate the comments made at the Governance Committee last week in thanking the neighbourhood councils for their exceptional work for residents over the last 50 years, albeit without some of the powers that will be available to a new Horsham Parish Council. This evening, the Council are asked to approve a budget of £45,000 in 25-26, approve the reorganisation order is made to give effect to the recommendations approved by the Governance Committee, to establish a shadow parish council and delegate authority to officers to take action required to implement the reorganisation order and any other action necessary to implement the new parish council.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. Do you have a seconder?
I do.
Do you wish to speak now or later in the debate?
I'll speak later, Chair, if that's okay. I'd like to hear what other members have to say first. Thank you.
I now open the debate up to the floor. Anyone wish to contribute? Councillor Olsen.
Thank you, Chair. Like others, I want to extend my thanks to those who've been involved to date in the community governance review, including officers, committee members, and importantly, the residents who engaged in the process. Assuming we approve this recommendation, and I encourage you to do just that, colleagues, we will be addressing and resolving an anomaly in our district, as the unparished area of Horsham Town is no longer denied a key level of local government. I'm also a bit sad, of course, as that decision will mean the end of our 3 neighbourhood councils. As a former neighbourhood councillor for Forest, I look back with fondness and recognition for how they represented our residents and what they achieved with little means. But I also remember all that can only be achieved through great perseverance, negotiations with this council, or could not be achieved due to the limitations of their non-statutory nature. I too want to thank the current chairs, Diane, Morgan, Trudy, as well as every neighbourhood councillor, current and former, along with the Blueprint Neighbourhood Forum for trying to fill this void over the past 5 decades. This is an amazing opportunity for Horsham Town. Parish councils are that bit more local, that step closer to their communities, yet also with the added authority and responsibility to raise funds to use to directly address local needs. Colleagues, many of you regularly liaise with your local parish councils, collaborate on and support the work that they do to provide facilities and services to your communities. And now Horsham Town will have the chance this May to elect their own parish, or soon to be town councillors, to do the very same. Of course, this town council will not just be there to represent and serve those that live within its electoral boundaries, but also those that work in the town or visit our town from within our district or further still. With local government reorganisation and the end of this very council ever closer, the government's latest consultations opening this very day, our new town council will enable and preserve local decision-making for local people working together to make a better Horsham. I urge you to support this recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other contribution? Councillor Skip, then Councillor Mercer.
Thank you very much, Chair. I'd just like to reiterate what Councillor Brooks said, that the neighbourhood councils for many years have provided great service in the areas in which they represented, and I think that they had no statutory powers as a council, a town council, a district council has, or even a council of the parish nature. And I think that with that in mind, what they achieved and what they did in their representation was excellent. And I'd like to pay tribute to them for what they have done for the chairs and the clerks and those councillors, because I think it was a long time, and this has been a long time coming, and so I fully support the move. But I would like to thank the neighbourhood councils for what they did over the years.
Thank you, Councillor Skip. Councillor Mercer.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to say that having had an experience in a local government over a very long time, I have previously worked with some very, very successful town councils, parish councils in the centre of towns, as well as having been a parish councillor myself. And I absolutely welcome this initiative. And I wasn't able at the Governance Committee to make the case from my point of view, but I've seen the closeness to residents, making best use of local assets that are available to them, picking up on established local needs and also identifying needs that are appearing and representing very local neighbourhoods as opposed to wider areas. And whilst, of course, some of these overlap with elected councillors, as we go to a unitary council that will, whatever the outcome, be larger than the district, I think these are very, very important things that the Horsham Parish Council can do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Mercer. Anybody else? Oh, sorry, Councillor Fletcher.
Thank you very much. I realise I should actually also be declaring an interest in being a member of Blueprint, Horsham Blueprint, on a very similar basis to being a member of the neighbourhood councils. I'm really pleased that after so many years, Horsham now has an opportunity to have its own town council. This has been something that has been a long time coming. There have been many people over the years who have wished this to be in place for Horsham, and there are a number of people over the years who've actually played a part in sort of paving the way for this to happen. Our previous group leader, Francis Haig, played a major part in the early setting up of Blueprint. The Horsham Society, a number of members there have also played active roles in advocating for the benefits of this, and he won't say it, but Councillor Boffey has played a very big role as well. The Blueprint is relevant in that it made a very timely call for a governance review, which is what has kicked off the process to lead to this town council. The main objective, I think, for those who are supporting it is that we should have a local voice for local matters. And this will be the most effective way of doing it. I cannot believe that a unitary would be able to effectively manage Horsham's allotments and dog bins and children's playgrounds, and I cannot imagine that a unitary would want to have to manage those things. A town council is clearly the appropriate forum for that to happen. I know there have been some scepticism about whether or not a town council is a good idea. I think it is evident as we move to a unitary system that those doubts become much less prominent against the really obvious need to have this local representation on a smaller level. And for those who continue to have any scepticism in this area, how many of those people would actually be happy to see the parishes abolished? And the case for a town council, I think, is really strongly made. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fletcher. Do we have any other contributions? Right, yes, Councillor Sweeney.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add my own thanks, representing the residents of Den Ward, to the officers and their teams, as well as the members of the neighborhood councils, so excellently chaired for Den Neighborhood Council with Trudy Mitchell. There are thanks in the time and effort with the surveys and the education of the residents of the non-parished areas about the changes in local government and the establishment, the option of the establishment of this new parish council. I wanted to mention that my own informal discussions with residents on the doorstep show, I think, a clear support for the parish council, for the Den area in any case, and that we're all looking forward to the new chapter of local government here in Horsham.
Thank you, Councillor Sweeney. Right, Councillor, sorry. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah, thanks. I feel that for the record, as a councillor, I'm lucky to be the councillor in one of the councillors in Trafalgar Ward, and I'd just like to reiterate or re-echo, I suppose, some of the other comments around the neighbourhood councils. The team in the Trafalgar Neighbourhood Council are excellent. They do great stuff. They really help to pull that real sense of community that exists there, and I just wanted it to be on the record that we recognise that work that's been done over the last 50 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Boffey.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I beg the indulgence of members here. I appreciate many of you have travelled a long way. This is not really an area that you represent, and you're probably sort of wondering how many more people are going to speak about this. But, you know, well, you know, power comes with its privileges every once in a while, I suppose, so I'm afraid I'm going to bore you a little bit more. I echo the thanks that have been given to the staff and members in the neighbourhood councils as well. And thank you very much for remembering Francis as well, who started out Blueprint. I think just to give a little bit of context to some of this, Blueprint Neighbourhood Business Neighbourhood Forum, what is that? What is a neighbourhood forum? Well, quite a lot of you from other areas of the district know how vitally important neighbourhood plans are to your communities. Well, if you live in an unparished area, who does it? Well, you haven't got a parish council to do it. So the only means of actually preparing a neighbourhood plan is to establish a neighbourhood forum, which is what the three the neighbourhood councils and the Horsham Society and other organisations did in actually bringing together the neighbourhood forum. And that was, you know, in many ways that was Frances's brainchild, and that was what she worked so hard on. And I think she's watching this evening, actually, so thank you very much, Frances. And that actually, but also having a neighbourhood forum with a made neighbourhood plan is then what gives you the opportunity to actually require the governance review that we had. So this, in many ways, is neighbourhood planning in action in a way that many of you perhaps have not seen before. I think I should also, as leader of the council and partly being responsible for all of this stuff, should mention something that hasn't really been mentioned too much this evening or at governance, but will be foremost on the minds of residents, which is money. Yes, it does have an additional cost attached to it, having a parish council in the unparished area. At the present time, the parish precept that it looks like will be coming forward for next year is expected to be in the region of £15 as a result of doing this. Now, I don't take that lightly. Obviously, that is going to be one more bill to pay for people. But as has been said to me by some members and also officers, that's the price of democracy. And I think we shouldn't underestimate how important that is going to be to the town going forward when we undergo so much change. Now, once the parish council is set up, it will actually then be for the parish and its own democratically elected representatives going forward to determine what the total parish precept is based on the requirements and expectations of the people who live here. But I didn't want it to pass to think that it would be even to pass without recognition that there are implications of this, and we do take it seriously. I'm often accused is a strong word, referred to, rightly or wrongly, as being town centric. Now, I don't really like that very much because, but tonight I'll wear it with pride. Tonight I'm a townie, but I do actually spend quite a lot of time visiting parish councils up and down this district. And I see the work that they do, I see the important debates that take place, and I see the decisions that they make, and they are very important to the people where they live. And sometimes maybe the town is viewed as getting a little bit more done there than in some parts of the districts might feel happens. But I think, you know, on this one, you know, people want to be on a level playing field. And then just the historian in me, I can't resist it. I started out on as a member of Trafalgar Neighbourhood Council. That's where I came from. I ended up being chair of it for a little while, which was a huge honour. I even did a few months as chair of Blueprint Neighbourhood Forum, actually, which was also much appreciated. I enjoyed that greatly. And actually, I guess that means neighbourhood councils as an institution haven't got a bad record, because in the last year or so, they've produced a leader of the council and a member of parliament. So that's not bad going, actually. But I would also just say thank them very much for the work that they have done over the 50 years. It's not really a very good phrase to use under this, but I'll use it anyway. I have in my hand a piece of paper, or a number of pieces of paper. This is actually the Trafalgar Neighbourhood Council as signed on the 10th of December 1976. And it actually refers to it at the start. There shall be an elective council for the number 3 West Ward, called the Neighbourhood, of the former urban district of Horsham, in the district of Horsham, to be known as Trafalgar Neighbourhood Council. So, for the historians amongst you, in some ways, we're going back to where we were over 50 years ago, because the area that is about to be parished is essentially what was Horsham Urban District Council, which then got merged in with Chanctonbury Rural District Council and Horsham Urban District Council. So actually, once upon a time, Horsham used to have its own council. And I'd like you to all please support it having its own council again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Boffey. Any other contributions from the floor? No? Okay, I'll invite Councillor Jeffrey as seconder of the motion to speak.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have too much to add from tonight. I think the debate that has happened and the comments that have been spoken tonight have been very positive, and I think there is broad agreement that this is something that the council should go ahead with. I just want to start and just reiterate the thanks that Councillor Brooks and others have given to the officers that have worked on this throughout the entire process, and also to the 3 chairs of the unparished, of the neighbourhood councils who have represented their residents to the best of their ability over the last 50 years. I think, judging from the debate here tonight and from what we've heard, it's clear that the creation of a parish council will provide the new authority with the statutory powers required to safeguard the fundamental democratic principle of fair representation and ensure that the town's voice remains strong, with local government reorganisation on the horizon. And as we edge closer to the end of HDC, I think it's very important, and others have made the point already, that I believe that Horsham Town, if I'm correct in saying, is one of the only last remaining unparished areas in West Sussex. So it's vital that we ensure that we don't unintentionally create a democratic deficit when we have the opportunity here tonight to safeguard that voice of the residents of the town for the future as we move towards a unitary authority, which, as others have already pointed out, it's questionable whether they would actually be committed to managing town affairs at such a local level, with all the other issues that are going to come up for a unitary authority, depending on the size of it. So I think it's the right thing to do, and I fully support the recommendation. So I hope council votes for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jeffrey. I now extend the right of reply to Councillor Brooks to make his closing comments.
I'd like to just briefly thank all the members who contributed this evening for their reflections and their words. I think we've heard some very powerful things. Councillor Boffey knows that I am also a lover of history, and he may already know this, that 150 years ago, in 1875, the owners and ratepayers of Horsham finally adopted the opportunity provided by the 1858 Local Government Act to create a district council for Horsham and a district government for Horsham, bringing local government to our area for the first time in hundreds of years, as the ancient borough, whose corporation had long since been at best defunct and at worst a private mechanism for the local landowner, the Duke of Norfolk, to control the elections, one of the most notorious of the old rotten boroughs. For the first time, 150 years ago, Horsham had true democratic elected local governance. 50 years ago, a portion of this district was, in effect, to an extent, disenfranchised. And we have the opportunity, as 150 years ago, to make a small, quiet piece of history, open a new chapter in the long story of democracy in this country. It may be very small, a footnote even, but it is ours. And in a world where, sadly, the journey towards greater and more fair democracy cannot be taken for granted, I think it's worth us just reflecting on what a privilege that is for us to be sat here and to have the opportunity to vote on this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooks. I now put this to the vote. All those in favour of approving the recommendations on pages 5 and 6 of the agenda, please show. It's unanimous. Thank you very much. The motion is therefore carried. There is no urgent business. I can now declare this meeting closed at 27 minutes past 6. Thank you. Oh,